Hey everyone, happy Saturday. Jo here at SportsGrid. It's time for a pocket with Jo. We've got some games already in action. The Pittsburgh Penguins taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, hopefully you took some of these bets before this game kicked off, caught me on Game Time Decisions or my pocket cup of Jo. We had Sidney Crosby for that anytime goal. He came out right away in that first period, being able to register the first goal. That was coming in at plus 145. I did take the Pittsburgh Penguins here on the money line to be able to get the win. And the Tampa Bay Lightning are not going away easy in this one. They just scored that third goal. So live lines on this. The Pittsburgh Penguins are minus 500, minus 560 even, with 11 minutes left in the third period. That's a huge number for a team that's only up by one goal, with the momentum shifting into the way of the Tampa Bay Lightning. I am tempted right now, you guys, to hit the Lightning at plus 370 on that money line. This game was one that I thought could go to overtime. We have 7 goals. The live total is 8.5, minus 235 to the over 8.5 and plus 182 to the under. We get one more goal out of the Tampa Bay Lightning. This one does go to OT. One more goal out of the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I think it stays under the 8.5. So I would stay off that total, but I definitely would look here if you want to hedge. The Lightning at plus 370 looks really tempting right now. Good afternoon, Jace and Matt. Thank you so much for being here. That's a crazy overreaction by those lines. Tampa has the momentum right now. 2 goals here in the third period out of the Tampa Bay Lightning. They only had one in the second period. 3 goals by the Pittsburgh Penguins in the second period. I don't know, you guys. That's really tempting to take the Lightning. Okay, let's look at the next game coming up here. Now, I already did discuss this on Game Time Decisions, and I will be back on Game Time Decisions tomorrow morning at 11:40, and then join me all afternoon, 3 to 7 tomorrow afternoon on SportsGrid with Scott Wetzel. So we'll be going over everything, not just the hockey slate, of course. The Florida Panthers taking on the Boston Bruins is the next game up. This one kicking off at the bottom of the hour here. Now, live lines on this game. Tampa's going to tie it up, you guys. Plus 420 on the Tampa Bay Lightning on the money line. I tell you, I can't believe what the books are giving us. Okay, the Florida Panthers plus 100, minus 120 here for the Boston Bruins. Total of 5.5, minus 110 to either the over or the under in this. I do think Florida's the right side to be on, even on the road here in Boston. You look at teams' ability to sweep teams during the season, and it is so phenomenally hard. Now, Boston's won the first 3 meetings of the season over the Florida Panthers, but I do think Florida can answer back in this one. Battle of the Atlantic. We know the Florida Panthers are sitting second in the Atlantic with 101 points, 105 points here for the Boston Bruins. Florida would love nothing more than to take the Atlantic Division from Boston, and they have every opportunity, and it will mean they need to get this win here. They can't allow Boston to be able to get the 2 points. Boston's also in a bad scheduling spot. I don't love it. Returning home off a long road trip, they did dominate in their last meeting on the road versus the Carolina Hurricanes. They're able to put up 3 goals in that first period. I thought they would have been tired on that road trip. I expected Carolina to go into that game with a vengeance, especially after being off since Saturday. But Boston proved that Boston as an underdog is a nice way to take a game. In this one, though, I do think Florida is able to get things done. Florida has not looked phenomenal over the last 10 games, though. 2-7-1 in the last 10. So it's a little risky. They did get the win over the Ottawa Senators in their last game out, 6-0. Their defense completely showed up in that, and offensively, they were fire out there. Bobrovsky got that shutout. He is expected tonight. Now, Allmark expected here for the Boston Bruins. So this is another game that has the opportunity of going to OT. The overtime bet in this is plus 330. I do think the first period under 1.5 is in play as well. That's coming in at minus 118. I expect these teams to play playoff style hockey right from the get-go in this one. That being said, the last time these teams played, it was a higher scoring 4-3 win for the Boston Bruins in Florida in March. So, and I believe that game kicked off with a super fast first period, and then we slowed down in the second and the third. But still, I still think under 1.5 in the first period there. Tampa, go. It's already tied. You guys, you could just feel it, right? The book's giving you so much value on the Tampa Bay Lightning. So we got 4-4. Everything is locked up right now. If you did jump in on the Tampa Bay Lightning at plus 420 was the highest market got to. It started at about plus 330 when we went live here. So at plus 420, we'll see what the books come out with for a total. I'm expecting a 9.5 for this total, and it juiced to the under, and it is 9.5 minus 194 to the under, plus 150 to the over. The Tampa Bay Lightning now the clear-cut favorite at minus 120. If you like the Penguins, which I do, I think they have the ability to win. They are minus 108. If you hedged and took the Tampa Bay Lightning at plus 420. You can now, if you didn't have a bet already on the Penguins, come back in at minus 108 on the Pittsburgh Penguins and just hope for the Lightning to be able to get that win, because you're going to win either way, but you'll win more with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Just dropped 20 on the money line. I love that. I love to see that. That is awesome. Let's go, you guys. The over 9.5, and this is plus 200. This game is so impactful for the Pittsburgh Penguins. We know this team needs this win. They are trying to get a last wild card spot there. The Tampa Bay Lightning are trying to, though, catch Toronto for that next place up in the playoff standings. So it is a battle out here. Neither team's going to go away. Give me the over 9.5 at plus 200, you guys. I think this is perfect. Okay, the Florida Panthers, Boston Bruins. That's where we were at. That game, we're looking at the Florida Panthers at plus 100. Also, liking this one to go to overtime and the under 1.5 in the first period. The next game, the Dallas Stars taking on the Chicago Blackhawks. This one is so hard to find value. The Dallas Stars, how much effort are they going to give versus the Chicago Blackhawks in this one is my biggest question mark, especially when they're minus 360 on that money line, plus 280 here for the Chicago Blackhawks. Total of 5.5, juice to the over at minus 132. Now, looking at this matchup here, it is Jake Ottinger and Peter Mrazek, expected at least. I'm going to take the first period over 1.5 at minus 118. I won't be shocked if the Stars put up both of those goals in the first period. Rupe Hintz has been absolutely phenomenal out there, but who's to say that the Chicago Blackhawks won't come out looking to play spoiler today? We could very much see that. I think either way, we just go over the 1.5 in the first period and call it a day. That's all I want to bet in that one. I don't want to take anything else, you guys. Connor Bedard should be able to come out strong on his home ice. If you want to look at him for the 2+ points tonight, you're going to get the value, but I'd look at the anytime goal over the 2+ points because it's going to be hard with Jake Ottinger. He has been playing solid as of late. Man, I tell you, 4-4 still, 7 minutes left in that game. If you hit, you'll take me to KFC. I don't eat Kentucky Fried Chicken, but thank you so much for the offer. Okay, the Winnipeg Jets taking on the Minnesota Wild. Current odds on this one. Yeah, I don't really love fast food, you guys. It's not my thing. Okay, so the Winnipeg Jets at minus 137. The Minnesota Wild at plus 114, total of 5.5, minus 118 to the over 5.5, and minus 104 to the under 5.5. If you like the Winnipeg Jets on the puck line, laying 1.5 at plus 188. The puck line for the Wild, there is no value. Now, I'm looking at this one here. The Winnipeg Jets are sitting third in the Central with 98 points. They've won 2 straight. They had lost to 6 before. So this is a team that has been struggling in their last 8 games, but getting those last 2 wins. Connor Hellebuck is in goal tonight. His save shots on goal prop is 27.5. I'm not going to touch it, but I would expect him to come out nice and solid versus the Minnesota Wild. I'm expecting a better performance out of Marc-Andre Fleury, though. He's 23-13 in his 37 games against the Winnipeg Jets with a 2.67 goals against average and a 907 save percentage. So I'm expecting him to be phenomenal. I do think the Wild will give him defensive support, though, so I'm not going to touch his save shot on goal prop. This team is sitting in the Central 6th. 81 points. They need an absolute miracle to make it to the playoffs here. But this team, I don't think mentally is checked out of the game as of yet. Once they officially get eliminated, I'll look at this team as more checked out. But I do think they still do believe that a miracle could happen and they could make the playoffs here. They're off that loss to the Avs. It was a 5-2 loss. They've gone 2-2-2 in their last 6. So those struggles have been really predominant. Now they're 10 points behind the LA Kings, and that's what I mean. Absolute miracle to be able to take this. And I think they've only got 6 games left. I'm going to look at Kaprizov, though, here of the Minnesota Wild for his 2+ points tonight. That's coming in at plus 150. We know how strong Kaprizov has been out there on the ice. And I do think because it's Connor Hellebuck and Marc-Andre Fleury, and we're going to see defensive support out of both of these teams, that we will see the first period be lower scoring. The under 1.5 in the first period is coming in at minus 118. Now, the only scary thing about that is if the Wild start to play a dirty game right out of the gate, because the Winnipeg Jets were struggling on the power play, but they were able to get it clicking in their last game. So they were able to score twice on the power play versus the Calgary Flames. So the Wild have to stay out of the box. The Jets, let's just play a solid defensive game out of both of these teams. Let's have both goaltenders stand on their heads. Now, when we look at who has had the upper leg in this matchup here, we have seen the Winnipeg Jets win the last 4 meetings, and they've covered the puck line in 3 of the 4 of them. So if you're looking at a full game, a puck line, even though we're going to get a lot out of the Wild, I do lean on the Winnipeg Jets. But you guys, I think it's not even worth taking a puck line here. I'm just going to look at that first period under 1.5 at minus 118, and Kaprizov for his 2+ points. I don't know if the Avs can win it all this year. So they're sitting, I believe, at plus 800 to win the Stanley Cup. I look at this team and it is so strong. Goaltending, though, is a little bit of a question mark for me with Colorado still. I'm not 100% have faith in their goaltending duel there. So we'll see what they're able to do. Kind of want to bet the Hurricanes to win it all. And you're getting great value with the Hurricanes as well. I believe they're plus 700, right up there with the Florida Panthers. You have the Dallas Stars, I believe, sitting at plus 850. Okay. The St. Louis Blues. Okay, where is that game at? We're still 4-4 apiece with 5 minutes left in the third period. This game is going to overtime. No team wants to make a mistake at this point in the game. Something's tied up, you guys. Please be the Pittsburgh Penguins there on... Okay, we'll see. I can't keep talking about these games until I find this one out, because otherwise my brain is going to be focused on what is happening in this game. Unfortunately, it's not playing in my studio right now, as I was just having a couple of hiccups with my Wi-Fi box. Yeah, the Pittsburgh Penguins have scored. This is a 5-4 game, you guys. The Tampa Bay Lightning have every opportunity of answering back. It will be interesting to see what the books give us with this live total. There's 5 minutes left if you want to jump in on this. We did jump in at the start of the show on the Lightning to come back on the money line. The Pittsburgh Penguins, I had pregame to get the win. So it's now plus 520 for the Tampa Bay Lightning to get the win, minus 900 for the Pittsburgh Penguins. That total is now at 10.5. One more goal out of either of these teams pushes us, if it's the Lightning, pushes us to overtime, which pushes us over. The empty netter won't get us over that number. I think the Lightning push this to overtime. Give me the over 10.5 at plus 104, you guys. Okay, that's a live one. We're going to go back to the games coming up, 6 p.m. Eastern. The St. Louis Blues taking on the San Jose Sharks. Current odds on this. The San Jose Sharks at plus 195, minus 240 here for the St. Louis Blues. Total of 5.5, minus 140 to the over, plus 112 to the over. Now, looking at this, it's so tempting to just go with the St. Louis Blues here on the puck line, laying 1.5 at plus 104. They have struggled this season versus the San Jose Sharks. The San Jose Sharks plus 1.5 at minus 125 would be where my money would go if I really wanted to bet this game. Now, I don't want to bet this game, you guys, but I do think the Sharks plus the 1.5, with how their defense has been playing and how they've played the St. Louis Blues this season, is where you'd have to go. They've won the first 2 meetings of the season. They just won in March 4-0, got the shutout win, and they won back in November 5-1. If the St. Louis Blues miss the playoffs, which it's looking like they will, they have 84.7 points behind the Kings for that second wild card spot in the Western Conference. If they do miss this, you got to think that it will come down to the fact that they lost 2 games versus the Sharks. And we're talking, and when I say 2 games versus the Sharks, it's no disrespect to the Sharks, but it is. We look at the San Jose Sharks. They've got a record of 17, 53-5 on the season. 2 of those wins, 2 of 17 came over the St. Louis Blues. That's shameful for the St. Louis Blues out there. You look at the St. Louis Blues players, though, and there's so many that have been impactful. Jordan Kyrou and Jake Neighbors would be who I would circle. I would look at their points today. I expect this one to go over that total. So the over 5.5 is coming in at -140. I expect it to go over because I expect the Sharks to be able to score in this game. Now, Jordan Binnington has played some fantastic games, but obviously the Sharks have had the St. Louis Blues' numbers. So I think they stay competitive. I think they can keep this one tight within the number. I do think St. Louis wins, but I'm not willing to take them there on the puck line. It's a good pass. It really is a good pass, that's for sure. Bunting scored that goal for Pittsburgh. Nice. Michael Bunting coming out with the goal. Okay. That's still sitting at 5-4. Things have locked up for that total. You can only get the money line with 2 minutes left, plus 750 for the Tampa Bay Lightning, minus 1,600 for the Pittsburgh Penguins. 5-4 game, 2 minutes. We'll see if the Lightning pull their goaltending and can tie this game up. I would love to see it, you guys. I took the overtime. Taking these games that are so impactful to these teams to go to overtime is a moneymaker. So fingers crossed. The Philadelphia Flyers taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, we've talked about how the Flyers are really beat up as of late. This team is just running out of gas to finish out the season. But here versus the Columbus Blue Jackets, who are missing so many players, I'm going to go big on the Flyers today. They need to break this losing streak. They've lost their last 6. They're sitting 4th now in the Metro. They were sitting nice and planted at 3rd. 83 points. They're in the 2nd wildcard spot in the Eastern Conference. The Capitals and the Red Wings, both with 82 points. The Caps have the edge on the Red Wings because of more regulation wins, but 83 points only here for the Flyers. These teams are catching them. So current odds on this one. I can find it. Just give me 1 second. The Flyers coming in at -170, plus 138 for the Columbus Blue Jackets. That total of 6.5, plus 100 to the over, -122 to the under. The Flyers on the puck line is the way I'm going to go, laying the 1.5. Is coming in at plus 140. I think they have every opportunity to win this game big. Now, the Flyers are sitting 2-1 on the season over the Columbus Blue Jackets. Columbus won in a shootout, they got the shutout in January 3-0. The Flyers won in November and October. So the Columbus Blue Jackets did take the last one, but I do think we can see the Flyers win 3 of the 4 meetings this season. The Flyers, Owen Tippett has been phenomenally strong out there on the ice. He's got a goal and an assist in his last 5 games. I'd look at Owen Tippett to come out nice and strong for the Flyers again in this game. And just with the players out here for Columbus, I wouldn't be shocked if we could even alt the puck line here. Ergen has had his issues because he's been played way more than they would have expected. We all know Carter Hart should have been the goaltender here in these games, but Ergen was thrown into the lead goaltending role. So Jet Greaves will be getting the start here for the Columbus Blue Jackets. He's 1-3 in 4 appearances this season with a 3.04 goals against average and a 917 save percentage. While that's solid, I think the Flyers have so much to play for to get things going in the right direction. So the Flyers on the puck line laying 1.5, the Flyers on the puck line laying 2.5. I do think you can ladder that one up. I could see them winning this one 5-1, 5-2. Laying that puck line of 2.5, I think, is a solid way to go. Okay, we got 1 minute left for the Tampa Bay Lightning to tie this one up. Keep your fingers crossed depending on where you're going with this game, if you have the Pittsburgh Penguins or the Tampa Bay Lightning. I have both, so I was able to middle it. And I have overtime, so I want to see the overtime. The Toronto Maple Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens. Now, Toronto has clinched, you guys. Be very careful with a team like Toronto after they clinch, especially versus a team like the Montreal Canadiens. I don't want to take Montreal straight up, and while I do think they could pull off the upset win here at home, I would love to take them with more value if Toronto comes out and underestimates Montreal at puck drop, and we see Montreal score first, if we don't see Montreal score first. If we see Montreal score first, I do think Toronto we'll see the value of them to come back. I think they can get this win, but if we see Toronto score first and then we get more value on Montreal on that puck line, I'd like to go there because I do think this is a tight 1-goal game. Sam Montague will be in net here for the Montreal Canadiens, and Samsonov is expected here for the for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I kept looking at that Tampa Bay Lightning game. We're in the last minute with a 5-4 score. Okay, so Toronto minus 205, that puck line minus 1.5 at plus 126. There's no value here on jumping on Toronto. The plus 168 looks so tempting on the Montreal Canadiens, but I would want more value, and I want more value on that puck line plus 1.5 at minus 152. So live betting situation, if Montreal goes down, coming back in on that puck line, they've got 70 points on the season, and yes, they've been eliminated, but this team is playing for pride, and they would love nothing more than to hand Toronto a loss here, especially in regulation, so Toronto doesn't pick up any points because they know Toronto and the Lightning are fighting it out for that third place in the Atlantic. So they're only the Maple Leafs going into this game, before this game finishes here for the Lightning, are only 2 points ahead of the Lightning. Now, Toronto has won the last 4 meetings, but we have seen Montreal cover the puck line in those last 2. Mitch Marner should be back from his ankle injury for Toronto as well. I'm just going to look at Montreal's team total. I think Montreal can get 3 goals in this game. Their team total coming in at 2.5 at minus 112 to the over. You look at Toronto on that puck line, they've gone 10-18 on the road as a favorite on that puck line, so it hasn't been profitable for you if you've been backing them on the road as a puck line favorite. But I do think this is a 3-4 game in this one, so I lean for this one to go over. I still do think Sam Montague comes out strong and go over 28 and a half save shots on goal in this game. Toronto will be flying that puck like crazy. I just see a lack of defense in this one after Toronto has clinched, so give me a higher scoring one. Montreal's team total to the over, and Sam Montague save shots on goal to the over. Is a penalty against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh took a penalty in that last minute. Are you kidding me? Okay, guys, has it finished? What has happened? Seriously, we have 5 seconds left in that game, and Tampa has an extra man and probably a pulled goalie. I can't wait to watch highlights of this game. Now, the Dallas Stars and the Chicago Blackhawks game just kicked off. Couple minutes in this one, still 0-0. Again, I'm writing the over 1.5 if you don't have a bet yet in the Dallas Stars and the Chicago Blackhawks game. You guys keep me posted. I'm pretty sure with 5 seconds left, the Pengs will finish this, but I tell you, that is just crazy. Okay, let's look at the New Jersey Devils and the Ottawa Senators. Jake Allen expected to get the start, or confirmed to get the start here for the New Jersey Devils, and Forsberg expected for the Sens. We know the Sens are playing upset mode right now, looking to get every single win they can and disturb the teams that are trying to get somewhere. Now, they did win back in March in New Jersey 5-2, but we saw the Devils actually win the last 4 prior meetings prior to that one. The Devils sitting here with 76 points. They're looking outside of the playoff picture, not officially eliminated as of yet. I just don't see a way for them to be able to win and get into the playoffs. So I'm looking at the Devils in the first period here to come out strong versus the Ottawa Senators. That puck line in the first period, laying a half of goals, coming in at plus 180. We've seen the Devils in their last couple of games get up in that first period and then just fall apart as the game goes on. I think it happens again here. So Tampa just called a timeout. Okay. Man, I tell you, over. Pitts wins. Okay. We'll see. Well, hopefully you guys had the Penguins, and then you middled it with the Lightning. It's too bad it didn't go to OT. Okay, so Jake Allen hasn't looked absolutely phenomenal out there, but I do think he can go over 28.5 save shots on goal versus the Ottawa Senators. We know the Senators will be flying out there on the ice. I'm looking for a higher scoring one and for the scoring to start off right away between these two teams, but the Devils to be the one to get on the scoreboard first. So give me the Devils puck line first period, laying the half a goal at plus 160. Jasper Bratt has been phenomenally strong as of late. The 2+ points for Jasper Bratt coming in at plus 220. He's got 76 points on the season, 9 points in his last 6 games, 3 goals and 6 assists to make up those 9 points. Nico Hischier, also someone you can circle here for the New Jersey Devils. 2+ points for him is coming in at plus 280. He has 7 points in his last 4 games. That's 2 goals and 5 assists. So between Jasper Bratt and Nico Hischier, I think both of them can get 2+ points in this one. I do expect this one to be a 5-4 style game, so pushing us over that total. Drake Batherson, I love for the power play point as well for the New Jersey Devils. His power play point coming in at plus 220. Yeah, Tampa with the timeout. But that game is officially done 0-0. Or sorry, 5-4 is that game finished. And the Dallas Stars and Chicago Blackhawks still sitting 0-0. Okay, a couple more games to go over, you guys. Here we have the Nashville Predators taking on the New York Islanders. The Predators coming in here, -110 here for the Islanders. A pick'em game in this one. Where is that total? The total is sitting at 5.5. Actually, we've seen a little bit of movement on FanDuel. Slight favorite here for the New York Islanders, a -113, -106 for the Preds. Total 5.5, -138 to the over, +112 to the under. Now, looking at this matchup, I would take it under before I took it over that total because of Saros in goal for the Nashville Predators. His record versus the Islanders has been absolutely phenomenal. But instead of touching that full game under the 5.5, because I do think the Predators offense can be so dangerous in the goaltending matchup. Varlamov is expected here for the Islanders. I do think the Preds could hit him. Now, while he has had some strong games out there on the ice, he's still got a 3.30 goals against average versus the Preds. So I want to isolate the Islanders team total to the under. The Islanders team total under 2.5 is coming in at +130. It's getting us great plus money. And yes, his Islanders team has been known to go off at times offensively. But I just think here with what the Preds are doing on the defensive side of things and with Saros in goal, that we can have this one stay under. So Saros versus the Islanders is 7-1 in his 8 games versus them, with a 2.35 goals against average and a 915 save percentage. So I love how strong he's been versus the Islanders. It is what I'm counting on, again, for the Preds to be able to win this game and the Islanders stay under that 2.5, is for Saros to do what I expect him to do. Now, we also look at the Predators. They've dominated versus the New York Islanders. They've won the last 10 meetings. I can't go against that. Now, we know the Islanders are still fighting out here. They're sitting third in the Metro with 83 points. The Flyers are right behind them, looking to take over that spot. So this is a must-win situation, in my opinion, for the Islanders. The Preds, though, same thing. They're sitting 1 point behind the LA Kings. 92 points are first in the Western Conference wildcard spot. The Kings are only 1 point behind. So when I look at this game has to go to OT for me, plus 330. Another reason I want to stay off the full game under 5.5. I more realistically think this one goes to OT 1-1 or 2-1 or 2-2 a piece. I don't expect this to go to overtime 3-3. If it does go to overtime, it's pushed us over that total, and then the Islanders team total, it has not cashed either. But I expect the Preds to be able to walk away with the win. We're not seeing Saros in net. Okay, Saros is not in net because that's what I was seeing earlier this morning. Saros is a difference maker here for the Nashville Predators. Without him in goal, we got Lankinkin confirmed. Okay, so Lankinkin confirmed. He's got a 3.03 and a 902 save percentage. Varlamov is completely confirmed for the Islanders as well. It's not what I wanted to see, not seeing Saros in goal. I would look at this one to go to the over 5.5 right away. This one, I don't think stays under that number now. Now, Lankinkin still can come out strong in this meeting. The Islanders have a better chance of going over their team total of 2.5 with Lankinkin and not Saros. But Lankinkin has been strong as well in some of these games. So I'm going to stay with my under 2.5 on the Islanders because that bet is already in. But I do think here you look at the Preds straight up on the money line. The Preds straight up on the money line at -106 would be the way that I would go. Montague has played well. Nick Suzuki for that anytime goal. Yeah, Nick Suzuki's been absolutely fire out there. He's actually, we come out of the All-Star break and Austin Matthews and Nick Suzuki were separated by 2 goals at one point. So I haven't checked Nick Suzuki's goals as of late, but I do think he is right there with Austin Matthews for the amount of goals since the All-Star break. So he's been playing phenomenally strong. Let's look at the Vancouver Canucks taking on the LA Kings. This game has first round of playoffs written all over it. This is a potential matchup here. So the LA Kings in the second wildcard spot in the Western Conference with 91 points. They need this win to hold on to that second wildcard spot. They've got so many teams chasing them right now. They can't take another loss. Now, Cam Talbot expected to get the start here, and Casey DeSmith for the Vancouver Canucks. Vancouver sitting first in the Pacific with 102 points. The Canucks, they have to hold on to this. Edmonton is right behind them. Edmonton is so close to catching them here that Vancouver cannot continue to flumber in some of these games. So I'm going to look for that defensive battle right out of the get-go. I'm going to take the no goals in the first 10 minutes. That's coming in at plus 104. I do think, though, the Kings have more drive to get this win. The Kings on the money line. Current odds on the Kings on the money line coming in at minus 122. The over 5.5 is interesting because while I do think there's no goals in the first 10 minutes, no goals in or under 1.5 in the first period as well, I could see this game opening up, and this game has a chance of going to OT. So at plus 340, I'm going to take this one to overtime. It's going to be a battle out there, you guys. Florida scored. That's what I like to hear. Let's go, Florida. Yeah, possibly they could go over that one now with that goaltending matchup, Doug. I'm with you on that. I'm going to stay on the Islanders team total to that under. It's an offense that I don't really trust, so we'll see what happens. The Edmonton Oilers and the Calgary Flames. This is the last game on the board. Battle of Alberta here. It's going to be a chippy night in Calgary. My mom's going to this game. Hopefully she behaves herself tonight. I think this is a higher scoring one. The over 6.5 is minus 110. If you like Edmonton for the win, they're minus 176. I'm plus 146 here for the Calgary Flames. If I know one thing, it's Calgary's going to try to get the upset on Edmonton, but Edmonton is playing so strong right now. They're looking to catch Vancouver for the first in the Pacific. They'd love nothing more than to get another win here over the Calgary Flames. I think this is a fast goal in this game. Give me the goal in the first 5 minutes here at plus 162. Jacob Markstrom is confirmed here for a Calgary, and Pickard coming in here for the Edmonton Oilers. Connor McDavid for the 2+ points. We know McDavid, McKinnon, and Nikita Kucherov are battling it out for the most points in the league. Connor McDavid, I don't care if it's the assists or the goals. He's going to get 2 or more. So 2+ at minus 118. I think we can ladder him up, and let me just see how high we can ladder him up. So the 3+ points for Connor McDavid is at plus 255. I wouldn't go higher than the 3+, but at plus 255 for 3+ points for Connor McDavid. I really do think they probably all come in the way of assists tonight in this one. Now, Nazem Kadri to record a power play point, I do like as well for the Calgary Flames. He's coming in at plus 300. If you just want to look at Connor McDavid for the power play point, these two teams are going to get so chippy out there. The Battle of Alberta, they don't like each other. I wouldn't expect anything less than what we saw like in the Devils game where everyone dropped gloves with the New York Rangers. I'm expecting that chippiness here. So Connor McDavid for the power play goal or power play point at minus 105. You can look at Zach Hyman at plus 210, but I would look at Nazem Kadri of Calgary at plus 300. Huberdeau at plus 330. Mackenzie Weegar, we were able to get for that anytime goal and the power play point in his last game out. Mackenzie Weegar now at plus 340. They dropped 100 points off that. He was plus 440 in that last game. So I wouldn't touch him here, but Kuzmenko even at plus 300. There's so many. Look at the power play points for these players today because it's going to be scrappy out there on the ice. I know, my mom better behave. She gets chirping. That is for sure, especially if Calgary is up or down. She's going to be smack talking a little bit out there, but she'll have a lot of fun. You guys, thank you so much for joining me here for Puck It with Jo. Let's just check those live totals, see if we've seen any movement. The Florida Panthers with that 1 goal over the Boston Bruins. This is the overreaction that the books have. Boston rolled in as a favorite right around -118, -120. There are now a +150 underdog versus the Florida Panthers, only down a goal in that first 5 minutes. So the overreaction, the ability to jump on these lines alive is absolutely fantastic. Now, the Dallas Stars and the Chicago Blackhawks are still sitting 0-0 in that game. -340 still for the Dallas Stars, +240 here for the Chicago Blackhawks. That total of 5.5. Now plus money to the over at +144 to the over. I would jump on that game to go over that total. I know we've got no goals so far in the first, but as soon as someone opens up in this one, I expect these goals to come flying in, especially if Chicago finds a way to score first here. The Dallas Stars will open up on the offensive side of things. So I do like the over 5.5 at +146. The Florida Panthers, I did grab pregame at +100. But I do think if we see Florida score again, coming back in on the Boston Bruins, there's no value on the puck line at +1.5 right now at -170. But if we see the Panthers go up by 1 more goal, I would jump in on the Boston Bruins +1.5 because I do think this game has every opportunity of going to overtime. Now, if you haven't bet this one to go to overtime and you're looking for that live overtime bet, it's still right around the same. It's actually +320. It was +340 going into this game. So the book's pretty much expecting this one to be a tight battle as well. You guys, all the best in all of your bets. Let's make some freaking money out there on the ice. Tomorrow, I'll be on Game Time Decisions at 11:40 a.m. Eastern, as well as 3 to 7 with Scott Wetzel. So if you're looking where to watch everything on SportsGrid, go over to www.sportsgrid.com/watch. For everywhere you can watch. If you haven't downloaded the app, make sure you do so. Connor McDavid for over on his points. Come on, let's not get the Flames destroyed. They probably do. I could see Edmonton winning this 6-2. Either way, I think it goes over. You see those points coming in. If Calgary scores, it's going to be on that power play. This should be a really interesting game as these two battle it out. So you guys, all the best. Have a great day. I will see you tomorrow and stay tuned for everything coming later today. Bye, guys.